Hey guys, I'm back for another video and welcome to another tutorial, and in this one I'm going to be showing you guys how to make a server for Minecraft version 1.9. Now this is going to be using software called Spigot, and there are Windows, Mac, and Linux versions, but this tutorial will be for Windows, and I would bet that the installation process is very similar in the other platforms. But anyway, what I'm going to be showing you how to do is install the software, get the server running, and how to port forward. So let's get started. So let's click on, well, first off, before we do anything, you have to go to this link right here, getspigot.org, and then you go to this page, and then you will see, of course. Now this will work for any Minecraft version that they support, so whenever there's a future version, it would probably come up on the top here. So Spigot 1.9, which will bring us to the download page. Just put it in your downloads folder, nice and simple. And then, once it's there, all you gotta do is make a new folder, because you'll see why later. It's a new folder, put Spigot in there, and now we're gonna need to make something called a batch file. Now the way you do that on Windows is you go to New, Text Document, and as you can see, I have a setting on right now that shows the file extensions. Now the way you do that is you simply go to Control Panel by right-clicking on the bottom of the screen, go to Appearance and Personalization, File Explorer Options, View, and then there should be a checkbox somewhere right here. Yeah, hide extensions for known file types. You just turn that off so that you can see the file extensions. So if I turn that on, see, they disappear. So you want to see them, because what that allows you to do is to change them. So instead of .text, I could be .bat, bat. And then there you go. Now it's a Windows batch file. So once you have your batch file, you just got to put some code in there. So right click, go to edit, and I have this in the description of the video. So there you go. Now basically what we're going to want to do here is, instead of just spigot.jar, we have to have this right here be the name of the Spigot file. So it's spigot-1.9.jar. And then you don't need to worry about any of this, but this you might want to take into account. This is how much memory is being allocated to the server. So I use 3 gigabytes because I got 16 on my computer, so I could afford to do that. But if you can't, you could just get rid of this argument entirely, or you could put 1 gig, so 1 G. I'm pretty sure most of you can handle at least 1 gig being allocated. So yeah, that's really it. I'll leave a couple of these in the description, so if you don't feel like typing them out yourself, you could just find it and then copy paste it right in the batch file. Then you just save. Now I'd like to name it something other than new text document, so let's just call it run.bat. That's what most people do. Then you double click it and wait for it. Boop. Some files are coming up, and of course it's going to stop it because it wants you to accept the EULA, whatever you want to call that. Just set that to true. Let's do that again. Now what it should do is generate a whole bunch of files, and boom, there's everything. So that's a lot of files. So it's generating the world and preparing spawn, and done. Alright, so let's give it a test run, shall we? Alright, now we're in Minecraft. Now as you can see, the server does come up because I am port forwarded and it's on my own computer. So there you go, I just generated a new world and spawned right next to a mycelium biome and some floating sugarcane. That's interesting. If you want to see the seed, I can do that. Nope, I don't have permission to do that. Alright, now I'm opt, so now we can do /seed. So if you want this seed, there you go. That's a seed for a mycelium biome right at the spawn and floating sugarcane. Alright, now that you have the software for your server, all you need to do is get yourself port forwarded. Now, I'm going to stop the server. Now, in order to use this, you have to use the batch file to start it up every time you want to start the server. And to turn it off, you just type stop, and then it'll save, and then press any key to continue, and now it's gone. So the server's off. So in order to get it to actually work with friends, you're going to need to do this thing called port forwarding. Now, there's a lot of tutorials out there for this, but essentially what it is you're making it so that Minecraft has permission to send and receive data through your router. There's a lot of ways to do this, but I'm going to show it on my router, which is an Optimum router. So the first step to port forwarding is you have to go into any browser, it doesn't really matter, and then you have to type in the following, I guess you could call it a local IP address. So 192.168.1.1. Boom. And then that brings you to your router's home page. Now, as you can see, I'm using an Optimum router. So then we could go to Advanced Settings, Port Management. Now, this is like every router ever. If you got a Linksys, if you got a Netgear, Acer, Asus. I've had like 7 different companies for routers, and they all work exactly the same. It's usually under Advanced Setting, and it usually has something to do with ports. Now, what you do, I already have one here, but let's add another one, a complete copy, just to show you guys. So, add port forwarding rule. You're, of course, going to want to name it, so let's name it Minecraft. And then the protocol, usually you have TCP and UDP. Now, instead of choosing between the two, you want to click, in this case, all. Sometimes it says both. Sometimes it says TCP and UDP or whatever. So, make sure it's both. And then the port you're going to want to set to 25565, which is the default port for Minecraft. And then you're going to want to keep the forward to port exactly the same. And then in this case, things are a little different. It says select host, and then there you go. It gives you your local IP address, which for me at the moment is 192.168.1.4, which leads to my computer. And then locate device by IP address is probably preferable. Now, these two porting rules are exactly the same as each other. Oh, that was weird. I just combined them. I don't like that at all. I don't know how I'm going to have to... Okay, well, that was weird. If you guys are wondering how to get your local IP address, all you got to do on Windows is go to the bottom left, right-click, and then click on Command Prompt. Then, once you get there, all you got to do is type in ipconfig. And then you'll get a bunch of information, but what you want is the IPv4 address, and you will see the 192.168.1, and then in this case it's a 0.4. So every time you restart your computer, this number changes. So you're going to have to update it in the port management on your router, and then that will allow you to not only connect to your server, but it will allow your friends to connect to the server. Make sure to change this number on not only your router, but in your server list, because that would get pretty confusing if your friends are able to log into the server, but you're not. That's because you're connecting with the local IP. So make sure that if it's a 0.4, you go into your Minecraft and put the 0.4. If it's 0.2, you put the 0.2. So there you go. So there's a couple other things you might have to do if you're on Optimum. You'd want your DMZ host to also be your computer. And yeah, so if you guys can't port forward, if this didn't work for you, I'll leave a bunch of tutorials in the description below, links to specific companies like Linksys, Netgear, whatever, if you need exact for how to get there. So that's in a nutshell how you port forward. Now, if you have an Optimum router like me, you might get lucky and you won't have to do it every single time you boot up your server, but essentially, if you boot up your server and it doesn't load in Minecraft, then chances are the port changed. Like, these numbers will stay the same in your local IP address, except for this last one. Like, for example, it could be 192.168.1.2, and then the next day, it will change to 0.4 or 0.3. And the way you'd connect to it if you're on the same computer is if you, of course, add a server. You put in that IP address, the local IP address. If you try to connect using your online, like your actual IP address, then it might lag because, I mean, it's going all the way out to like 25565 and then coming back to you. Like, it goes all the way to the Minecraft server, like, port, and then all the way back, so that it's not really efficient. So for your server, make sure that it's your local IP address so that not only you can connect to it, but so you know it's not working and you need to change the port in the actual thing there. So the way that you get your friends to connect is also very simple. So once you've added this to your list and you've tested it out and been able to go on your own server because you put in your local IP address, the way you get your friends to go on is if you Google, what's my IP? And I spelled wrong. Now, of course, I'm going to have to fuzz out my IP address for security reasons. But what you should get is something like, I don't know, like you get 2 numbers in the beginning, then a period, and then 3 sets of 3 numbers. Whatever that number is, you just copy it, maybe send it over Skype, or just speak it to your friend. They type it into their server list, and if you did everything correctly, they should be able to join. So hopefully you got your Bukkit server up. And now if you don't, that's not a problem, because honestly, I've done this for years. I've been trying to do Minecraft servers for, I mean, if you guys know, I run my own Minecraft server called SubioCraft, and I've been doing it since like 2012. So if you have any questions, make sure to ask them in the comments down below. I read every single comment, and if your issue is out of the ordinary especially, then I will try to help you out. Even if it's a common problem, I will lead you in the right direction so you can get yourself playing with your friends on PC. So that's it. So, I hope you guys enjoyed. Whoops. And I'll see you guys later.